because I think that what I'm about to say may help you. Good morning, Pastor Sam. It's good to see you. Ludacris, I know. Hey, listen, guys. I've gotten like 12 text messages and emails. Okay, I will. From people who are concerned about the Periscope that was released a couple of days ago, where my character was viciously attacked, and also the character of my wife and my church. I am fine, so I don't want you guys going in overhaul, getting out of your character. I understand the young man's challenge, and so I don't want nobody getting offended, or nobody. You have to guard your heart and not let this stuff get to you. So all nations, y'all can chill. Scope Temple, y'all can chill. It's okay. All right, go ahead and share this with your followers. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, you don't have to worry about it. It's okay. I'm going to, Pastor Walter, good to see you, man. Pam Ross, yeah, an enemy is needful. It is very needful. So y'all be good. It's okay. I have something I want to share with you, and I have something that I want to give you this morning that I think is going to really help you in your devotion. And I don't have a long time to do it because I've got some other studying to do, but I wanted to give you a couple of principles that I think is going to help you. One of the things that I always find myself studying, evaluating, and reviewing is the quality of my friendships. It's very, very, very important. Now, most preachers I know don't do that because many of them don't have them. And if they do, they are simply platform friends where you see each other, you know, in a mall or in a city or in passing, and you say stuff like, hey, Doc, I got to get you to my church because you don't know what else to ask. You know, when a simple, hi, how's the family doing would suffice, and not empty invitations to events or churches or gatherings, etc. Most preachers do not know how to effectively have friendships. And because I'm an overseer of pastors and I oversee churches, one of the things that I always talk to the pastors under me about is whether or not their friendships are effective and whether or not they have them. I think that anybody who intends to have a future needs to be deliberate and selective about their friends. Now, we make a lot of friendship mistakes. There's a lot of things that we do wrong in friendships. Who is this? Okay, let me block you. We make a lot of mistakes in friendships. One of them is that we are not clear about what we want, about what we expect, about how we define them, and we don't necessarily allow for the room to grow when we are not as vocal as we need to be about what we want. And so I want to give you some insights this morning. Something that the Lord dealt with me about was friendships. It is so important. And at some point, I want to do a whole scope on friendship school. I gotta take my caffeine. And how to be an effective friend, how to grow in friendships, how to recognize whether or not there is friendship suitability or compatibility. I don't think that friendship should be made randomly, arbitrarily. I think that there's a way to be a friendly person and not enter into a friendship arrangement with somebody. And so I'm going to give you some insights on what to think about, how to evaluate your friendships. And I'm going to give you some insights on how to take it from one level to the next. All right. So I hope you've shared this with your friends, and I want you to really think about this today because it's going to help you. I meet visionaries probably every week. I'm gone most of the year in my travels, and so I meet leaders who have vision, who have dream, who have things that they feel like they've been called by God to do. And one of the things that's consistent with them is that many of them don't necessarily realize the role that their friendships play in their ability to be healthy, to be focused, and to be committed to the thing God called them to do. Many of them don't associate it. So they feel like because God has called me to do something, it's going to happen no matter what quality of life I live, no matter what I do, no matter who's invested in me and them. And so friendship is a very important part of somebody who's been given the responsibility to craft the future. That's important that you know. If God has given you future responsibility on any scale, in a family, to a church, in an organization, to a city, you are going to have to be deliberate about evaluating your friendships. And so I don't want you to make the mistake of placing people wrongly in your life. You know, there are going to be those that are your superiors. There are going to be those that are your peers, and there are going to be those that you pour into. Those are the three levels of relationship: those that are over you, those that are with you, and those that are under you and reliant on you to make it in order to be and to be. So number one is clearly define them, and don't be so quick to place people, particularly without their awareness, in one of those spectrums of leadership without you knowing whether or not they agree with that. But here are some rules of friendship, and I want you to write them, and I'm going to get out of your way today. All right, number one, if you're going to be a friend, I think that you need to, number one, do a Bible study on what the Bible says about friends, and what the Bible says about the role of friendships and how they play a role, particularly in your war. Now, I know you people think I'm grandiose and that all I do is talk about war and warfare and conflict and combat and all that stuff. But I really do believe that if you approach your life as a war, you would make better decisions, you would have better judgment calls, you would employ wisdom a lot more and be selective about what you did with your time. Because in war, everything is a strategy. And so even down to what you say, what you don't say, who you date, what you don't date, what you study, it is all a tactic. And so I think you should study friendship from that particular angle. And one of the things that the Bible says is a brother is born for adversity. It talks about two being better than one. If one fall down, how can he get back up except one lift him? And and then it talks about if one falls and is not and it's cold, how can he be made warm? It talks about alienation. So friendship really is a ministry. I think Facebook has cheapened friendship, and it makes you feel like everybody around you is qualified for your friends. And believe it or not, this is some of your preachers' problem with me. It really gives you a sense of obligation that if we are similar for whatever reason, or doing the same thing, or in the same career or whatever, then certainly that automatically qualifies us for friendship. And I think that the arbitrary use of the term friend on social media is what has blurred the lines on whether or not a person should be your friend. People have to be reminded that just because I've seen you on social media, or because I've been in the room with you one or two times, does not mean that we are friends. And you should not approach it as such, because then you establish expectations and you end up wounded when people don't respond in the exact same way. So don't let Facebook confuse you. You don't have as many friends as you think, and friendship actually does have a role, a work, something to be measured by. Okay, so here is the first rule of friendship. If you're ready, give me a thumb. Lord, this coffee need to activate it, because it's just not working today. It really has. Facebook has cheapened the term friendship. Okay, or the term friend. Number one, the first rule of friendship is be there. Be there. Now, depending upon the type of person and personality you have, you may, Christabel, come on, I need you to get in my corner. You may not need quality time as a specific a statement of value, but being around is a very important part of evaluating friendships, and a very important part of activating and growing trust. When you establish a friendship, trust is not there like it's going to have to be there. Many of us walk into friendships with suspicion, paranoia, braced. And that's not an abnormal thing to have it, but it's the way you deal with that is that you are there. You make time. My friends and I will text and we'll say it's time for friend time, and do I have an unmarried friend? Googly muggly. All my friends are married, and so because of that, we all are very engaged in kids, all very engaged in careers. Some of us are in school, some of us have careers, but you got to be there, and that's an important part of growing trust. But it's also, here's what I want you to hear this, a part of disarming people. If you are a defensive person because of your prior relationship experiences, if you have been wounded to any degree, where there is no proximity in relationship, and you don't get to spend time at lunch or time at coffee or time on FaceTime, just doing basic life updates, then it's going to be difficult for you to be disarmed and as vulnerable as you need to be. Because here is a sidebar: friendship only works where vulnerability is easy. Friendship only works where vulnerability is easy. If vulnerability is difficult to you, friendship will not be effective. If you cannot become okay with being vulnerable, you'll never let friendships really work to you like they need to be. So that already disqualifies a lot of you, because leaders in particular don't necessarily like vulnerability because they have to be guarded for the nature of the work they do. But you learn to want to become vulnerable, and you learn to aim to become vulnerable. The more consistent you are, and the more time and you make for being there. So be there, be regular. Say, one day a month, that's our friend day, or one trip a month, our friend day, or, whatever. But you've got to be there. It's very important to be there. Number two, you've got to be honest. You've got to be honest. A friendship is not going to be effective where honesty is impossible. Now, this means that you cannot be easily offended. You cannot be overly hormonal. You cannot be very sensitive, because you really do want to earn the honesty of your friends. Without the brutal honesty of those around you, you are really going to be blind. There are things about you that you don't realize is there. Things about your character, your appearance, your attitude, your appearance, your things. And so without it, there's a lot of things about you, about your character, that you may not know. Everybody around you may see it. Everybody around you may perceive it. But there are things that you have not realized about your character, and about the things that may be adversely affecting your success. And so if your friends, for whatever reason, either you are temperamental, or you were too offended, or your skin is too thin, if your friends cannot be honest with you, you actually make them null. You make them dull. You ruin them. You ruin their effectiveness in your life. And then what happens with that is, you people who make your friends be dishonest ends up feeling unfulfilled in all relationships. You wait a year or so and be like, my friends just not taking me to the next level. My friends, I feel like I got the wrong people in my life. But one of the real truths is, you have not given them the right to be honest, and you have not let them know that no matter what you say, we're going to work on this, as long as I know that we are true friends, we are godly friends. You are not a snake, you are not a snare. And so honesty is very important. It's like it puts friendship on steroids. It's like you are able to legitimately speak to a person without a defense. So that's very important. You've got to be honest, and you've got to give your friendships the right to be honest. Here's another profound one. Number three is be humble. Being friends with the spirit of Leviathan, or the demon of pride, is something very impossible to do. You may not realize this because you may have proud friends, but pride in the context of any relationship is oppressive. Pride will make victims. Pride will be selfish. Pride will be self-centered. Pride will be self-seeking. Pride is one of the ways that all relationships are sabotaged, because friendship is covenant. When you are proud and you are not working on humility, then what happens is you end up self-sabotaging all relationships. I would never be friends with somebody who is proud, because pride murders, pride kills, pride will surrender you for any cost, pride will betray you, pride will defame you, pride will dishonor you. And so you've got to be humble if your friendships are to work. One of my life goals, and I want you to take on this same exact goal, but one of my life goals is to grow to the place where I can be unoffendable. I want it to be impossible to offend me. Not necessarily affect me, because I have sons, daughters, people that need me to be affectable, but I want it to be impossible to offend me, because a person that can't be offended can't have their focus taken from them. So humility, be aware of how humble you are, be aware of whether or not your pride, your ego is in the way of your friendships. It will make sure that your friends are not effective in your life. Here's another good one, is be safe. Friendships are going to be safe places. They are ministries of safety. If you are a forward person, if you are a progressive person, let's say you have responsibility, you have a good career, you have a good marriage, you're going somewhere, and you are actively engaged in the formation of your future, you are going to have conflict, you're going to have war, you're going to have enemies, you're going to have people that oppose you. Anybody on any level of an assignment, particularly in a generation where everything has a microphone, everything. I mean, people can say what they want about you. They can make accusation about you. They can attack you viciously with their words, all of that stuff, right? So because those are factors that are inevitable, every person that is headed to the future needs a safe place. You need a place where you can retreat without your achievements, without the armor of your accomplishments, without your title, without your roles, without your responsibilities. You need a place of retreat. The way I have always, well, I can't say always because that would be a lot. More recently, like the last several years, the way I have dealt with persecution is that I've retreated to my friends. And they have always helped me to remain balanced in my character, my opinions, my views, my responses, my reactions, my options even. So many people get overwhelmed by the appearance of their enemies because they don't have friends to retreat to. So I want you to follow this train of thought. Your enemy's blow towards you will be most effective if he hits you when you're by yourself. Your enemy's blow, I'm talking about people, haters, jealous people, wicked people, sabotage attempt. But to the man that has friends, the blow of their enemies don't feel as heavy, don't really feel good, because every time the apostles got hit with persecution in the book of Acts, the Bible says they retreated to their own kind because they needed to be refocused, recentered, restored, repaired, and they need to be reminded about why they enrolled and why they involved themselves in their assignments to begin with. So you need safe places, places you can go to retreat, and they're not going to agree with your enemies. They're not going to help them. They're not going to harm you deliberately. They're not going to make room and make opportunity to bash you or brutalize you or anything like that. They're going to see your state, see your dilemma, and they're going to be a safe place for you. Now, there's a whole different level. One of my friends actually has a book on safe places, but there's a whole different level of teaching about how to become a safe place for a person, because many of us do not know, particularly those of us that have come from brokenness. It's difficult to learn how to become a safe place. But be safe. If you are going to be a friend, if you're going to be in friendship, you've got to learn to be a safe place. LaQuint Bethel wrote that. All right. The next one is be consistent. Be consistent. One of the things that rob friendship is inconsistency. Inconsistency. Consistency is a very important factor to friendship. Now, this is different from my first instruction, which was to just be there. Being consistent is a little different. This means in your responses, in your reactions, in your behaviors, and what you do. Consistency is very, very, very important, because consistency not only builds trust, consistency not only builds protection, consistency is what's going to determine people's expectations of you. For example, if you behave in a certain way consistently, you earn certain rights and you earn certain privileges, because now you developed a reputation for what it's likely you will do, what it's likely you will be. And when you are an inconsistent person, particularly in a relationship context, you don't really develop the depth that you need after trust to be able to be a safe place and to be there. So consistency is very, 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 very important. By consistency, I mean, be consistent. If you're going to celebrate my birthday, celebrate my birthday. If you're going to be aware of accomplishments in my life, be aware of accomplishments in my life. If you are going to applaud me when something has happened, or take note of a major achievement, or if you're going to check in when you've learned that I've been hurt or been attacked, consistency is like a power force to friendships, because it always reminds you about the people that are on your squad and on your side. So you've got to be very consistent in friendships, and you've got to develop consistency in your behaviors in friendship. That's very, very, very important. Finally, my brethren, be for me. Be for me. Now, when you are for a person, then it means that you do correct them. You do check them when they're out of order, because you are protecting the greater good of this person's life. Be for me. So this means that you should never celebrate, you should never applaud, and you should never be silent during times I need you the most. If we're going through transition, if I am headed for success, if you are aware that something is going on behind my back that could potentially hurt me or harm me, and you remain silent. Silence is an assassin in relationships. When you are aware that there is some type of conspiracy or some type of thing going on about me that could adversely affect me or harm me, and you allow me to be caught off guard for whatever reason, even if it's my own behavior, and you sit back and watch me get hit by the Mack truck of my character or the Mack truck of somebody else's attempt, whatever the thing that's trying to hit me, and you don't say anything, it's going to really make it difficult for me to believe whether or not you are for me. Also, when you are for me, it makes you a brand ambassador of who I am. Let me give you an example. I have a couple of friends that are very controversial figures, and they say things that tick people off. They get on people's nerves. Sometimes they can be a bit rambunctious in their presentation of issues, but whatever, they're my friends. And so because of that, when I am in different sectors of the world or different sectors of America where their names come up and their names come up to me, and somebody precedes the conversation by saying, yo, what's up with your boy? Blank, 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 blank. Immediately, I'm on guard, because I'm not going to allow you to speak negatively about birds of a feather. I know, right? I'm not going to allow you to speak negatively about people that I've been assigned to protect. Now, that's a principle that is very much so applicable to a lot of stuff. I think it's an intercessory principle. You know, if you are praying for somebody and you are on a prayer assignment, then you are one person that doesn't get the privilege of talking against it. I don't care what they do. If you are on an assignment to protect, on an assignment to pray, on an assignment to believe God, on a prayer project, you don't get the right to entertain or to become the landing plot or to become the trash bag for other people divulging stuff on you about your prayer project. It's the same truth with friends. When people come to me about my friends saying things that are negatively, even if they may have some merit, I've got to frisbee them. We're going to redirect this conversation because you're not going to come to me to be negative. About the person that I've been assigned to walk with, because I'm not going to allow you to compromise my assignment and to contaminate my covenant by putting your opinions in me and shading the scape of our relationship and our interaction, because ultimately after that's happened back to back to back, you may have deposited something in my heart that may affect my ability to really see my friends the way God wants me to, which is in the light of love and in the light of success and in the light of destiny. So that's going to happen to you. You've got to learn to boomerang. It's very, very, very important. Now, this may mean that to some people, you may have to appear like a jerk. I have a part of that reputation. Let me give you a little about me. I can be brute. I can be a bit mean. Some people may say I'm a jerk. I'm harsh. I can live with all of that. But the real truth is, I'm a very, very, very profound lover. And God has given me, because of my destiny, a heart that's capacitated to hold a lot of things, a lot of people. I have a big heart. Solomon prayed for an enlarged heart. And I think the Lord gave me that, to be able to hold vision, to hold people, to hold a vision. God gave me a heart to hold things. So because of that, a person like me would become a very prime candidate for bitterness, because my heart has to hold. But because of that, the hearts that hold have to become protected by sometimes what may appear to be jerk-like behavior, because then it removes you from certain attempts from hell. You know, there's certain things that people just don't try with me, and it's because I have developed a reputation of fighting off foolishness, sometimes with a look, sometimes with a phrase, but it's a part of how God built me, because you've got to protect that place in your heart, and you got to protect that place even in your space. So yeah, that's it. When people come to you and come to you and approach you about your friends and about the people around you, you may have to appear like a jerk. And what I mean by that is that you've got to maybe look at people dumb like this. This is a dumb look when somebody be like, "What's going on with your girl?" You do like this. And then you say something like, "I'm sorry you feel that way," or "You're not worth that conversation," or "Unfortunately, you don't qualify to talk about that." Something like that. That's very, very important. You've got to learn how to develop certain jerk-like tendencies at times that protect the people that you love, that protect the thing God called you to do, and that protect or prevent people's ability from trying it when they come, used by Satan, sometime unintentionally, to try to affect the relationships God's called you to. I am more concerned about my relationships than my reputation with people who don't mean anything. So because of that, I will protect and guard relationships that mean something, because they are my currency, they are my power, they are a part of what drives me and what focuses me, even if it means hurting your feelings. I have no Bible that forbids me from hurting people's feelings. And so that's why I do it quite regularly and do it quite frankly, because Jesus didn't say, "Woe unto you that hurts people's feelings." Some people, you need to have feelings hurt. Now, Christians don't like it, but they'll be fine and they'll get to heaven even. But you've got to be willing to be defensive and protective about the things that God has sent to your life and the people that God has assigned to you. So yeah, that's pretty much, you will not be able to come in my space and negatively talk about my sons and my daughters, negatively talk about my students or my proteges, anybody that I'm assigned to. You are not going to be able to be comfortable dogging them to me. Not going to happen. And that's how it should be. When you have an assignment, you don't let people come against it, and you don't let people ruin you from it, unless what they're saying is true, and unless what they're saying has some merit and gives you some insight. But other than that, you gotta appear like a jerk. So the rules of friendship, as I go, is be there, be honest, be humble, be safe, be consistent, and be for me. Those are very few preliminary rules of friendship that I need you to evaluate. So here is your homework. All right, your homework is evaluate your friendships. Are they quality? Are they as rich as they could be? Are they aiding you? Are they active? Are they inactive? Are you as invested in them as you should be? I want you to evaluate today what you need to do to take your friendships to the next level, because it's a major part of your future. So you need to really invest in it. The worst thing you could do as a visionary or a man and woman under a mantle is be there without any friends. And here's why. You're going to attract enemies, whether you like it or not. In fact, you've got to be effective at making enemies. If you're going to move into the future, you've got to become an expert at attracting adversaries and effective at making enemies. So because of that, if you ever have more enemies than you have powerful friends, then you're going to find yourself depressed, miserable, confused, wounded, sadness, and set apart. It's so important. So what reinforces yourself from the effect of an enemy is that you've got friends to retreat to. So that's very, 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 very important. You got to be okay with making enemies because you have friends. Anybody, any wrestling fans out there? Any wrestling fans out there? Any wrestling fans? It's 8:27. I got to get ready to go. Who's a wrestling fan? Pastor DeAndre. Yo, I'm a wrestling fan. I have been for most of my life, right? And when you watch wrestling, there is something called a lumberjack match. And in a lumberjack match, what happens is you go into the audience and you fight somebody. Sometimes you're the same size, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you know each other and not. It's a lumberjack match. But here is the power of the lumberjack match. Often in a lumberjack match, the attention is not necessarily focused on the quality or the effectiveness of the fight in the ring. It's the activity outside of the ring that makes the lumberjack match effective. You have people on every side that are advocating for one of the sides to win. And should one of the sides be thrown out of the ring, the point of the lumberjack is to catch him and toss him back in the ring. Everybody needs somebody to throw somebody back in the ring, because you are going to come to a place in your life where you're going to be thrown out. You're going to be thrown over. You're going to want to tap out. You're going to want to quit. You're going to tire out. You're going to wear out. And if you don't have about 5 or 6 people on the side of the ring whose whole job is to catch you and throw you back in that ring, you may miss the championship. You may miss the main event. You may miss your opportunity to break into your next level of fame and your next level of success. So I want you to have quality in your corner, and you've got to have people, and I want you to hear me, that's been anointed to toss you back in the ring. That's very important. So I've been hitting you guys real hard about developing your side and your squad and your team. And that is something that is very important to me. So make sure everything is don't cross over into the next year without your relationship with your mentors, without your relationship with your overseers, spiritual parents, whatever you're going to have. But don't you cross over into the next year without people over you to protect you. Don't you cross over into 2016 without your friendships in place. Go get them a gift. Go get them a card. Repent if you've not been consistent. But don't you cross over into the next year without right alignment. And don't you cross with your superiors, overseers, right people over you. Don't you cross into the next year without your friendships in place. And don't you cross over to the next year without people to pour into. All right, here are my 6 principles, and I'm letting you go. This coffee is just not working. Man, see, my friends got to help me with my temper, because I'm really getting irritated with this coffee. Number 1, be there. Number 2, be honest. Number 3, be humble. Number 4, be safe. Number 5, be consistent. Number 6, be for me. Number 1, be there. That's about proximity and time spent. Number 2, be honest. Number 3, be humble. Number 4, be safe. Number 5, be consistent. And number 6, be for me. Be my brand ambassador. All right, I love you guys. I think you guys are great. I've got to get ready. I'll be teaching this morning on vision. And I have a session in a minute. And we're going to move forward into this. I think I'll scope it to see if my connection works. And then I do have service again tonight. Hey, the service tonight is going to be actually at the hotel. So because my connection was a little weird last night, it's going to be better tonight at the hotel. And I have a word from the Lord. Man, that preach last night really helped me. I preached to myself. It was amazing, man. I preached. The devil did not do it. It was powerful. It was anointed. I felt yokes break. The devil loves taking credit for the stuff that's going wrong in your life, or the stuff that hurts in your life, even if it was not him. And I had to help the saints realize that no matter what's going on, that the devil did not do it. All right. I love you guys. You are amazing. I'll get you some more scopes today. I miss you, so I'm going to get you quite a few scopes. I might get you my scope this morning on vision, and then I might get you my scope tonight I love you as well, Bishop Hiller, during my preach tonight. But do what I said do. Reinforce all of your relationships. Don't cross over into the new year without your people in place. And if you don't know how to make friendships, when you try, admit it. Say, I don't know what I'm doing. Can we try to see if this is going to work? And then you just go ahead and do it by faith. You need to be submitted to an overseer. Prophetess Winifred, love you. You need to be submitted to an authority figure, an overseer, a father, a parent, somebody. You need to have friends, and you need to have some people you're pouring into.